Hello, today we're talking all things artificial intelligence and just how it can or cannot help car dealers. Now, joining me for this discussion is Catherine Fairs. She's the COO of Advertising Marketplace Auto Trader. Catherine, welcome. How are you?
Hi, James. I'm very well, thank you. Great to be back.
Great to see you again. Thank you for giving up your time once again for us. Now, as you can imagine, AI is something I'm rather interested in. Those people who've been watching our YouTube channel will have seen our AI car dealership project series, where we've had some successes and some failures with AI. It's a bit of a buzzword, isn't it, at the moment, especially since the launch of ChatGPT about a year ago. But the tech isn't exactly new, is it? I mean, perhaps you could just discuss a little bit about how that technology works for Auto Trader.
Sure. So, artificial intelligence is this kind of catch-all term used to describe the world of data science, algorithms, and machine learning. AI is really where any machine is able to simulate or recreate human intelligence or behaviors in some way. And scientists have been working on AI solutions since about the 1950s. So you're absolutely right. It's definitely not new. We've been working on it for years at Auto Trader, but actually, all of us as consumers, whether it's Google Maps or Waze and traffic patterns in our smart devices, in our homes, some of the thermostats that we use, or in streaming services like Netflix and Spotify, those recommendations that we all get that mean we stay up far too late watching shows, they are all machine learning and AI powered. So it's everywhere in loads of everyday products. Since that Chat GPT launch, AI seems to have become synonymous with large language models, those models that have been trained on lots and lots of text data to understand and generate this human type response and language. And they are absolutely built using AI and deep learning techniques. But AI is about an awful lot more than those large language models. And for that journey we've been on at Auto Trader, we've been using AI, machine learning type capabilities in many, many years in many of our products that retailers and car buyers use on our platform all the time and every day to add value either to their businesses or hopefully to help their car buying journey become a little bit easier for people.
I'd like to get into a little bit more detail on how you're using it in a moment. But I mean, firstly, you speak to loads of dealers all the time. You've seen how we're trying to use AI in our used car business. What examples have you seen of where it has been used by dealers and used well?
So I think some of the early examples we've seen have been for simple simple jobs, advert creation, for descriptions, for finding out information, relatively simple prompts or questions into those AI tools. And some dealers have been, as you've been, like experimenting with some of the different technologies that are openly available out there for retailers to use. The reality is, any retailer that partners with us, they are using AI every time they are interacting with one of our platforms, whether it's to price a car through that valuation, whether it's to look at the retail rating, whether it's to look at that market health data. In almost every job, if you like, that retailers are doing, either in our portal or through our connections into other technology partners, they're using tools and solutions to run their businesses that are powered by AI.
I've been using it in lots of different ways, and I can see lots of advantages for it in the future. I mean, talking to customers is one, if you can train it to talk in the way that you want it to. Buying cars is another thing that we've been trying to do, and we did that in our last video, try to use AI as much as possible with that. If Catherine, if you were running a car dealership, where would you try and deploy AI now? And where do you think it might be able to help in the future?
So I think, um, I mean, we are trying through the products and the data tools that we use to make sure that we are bringing the best of AI, the best tools, the best functionality that's out there, and making it available to retailers. So we've been on a journey for about 10 years now of building a team, of building a capability, of solving and bringing machine learning initially, and then increasingly more recently AI type techniques to use the data that we have. And it's one of the benefits of being a marketplace is that we have really rich consumer data on one side of the marketplace, 85 odd million visits each month. And then the other side, we see hundreds of thousands, millions of interactions from retailers. So for 10 years or so now, we've been gathering those insights, using that data to power solutions that we believe can help retailers to drive better performances in their business. Outside of the work that we're doing, I think we've seen retailers use some of the tools out there to make vehicle descriptions a bit easier, a bit better. We haven't seen widespread use of Chat GPT, and we haven't seen consumers interacting with Chat GPT in a big way as part of the buying journey. I think in any vertical or in any retail category, the power of those large language models comes from the richness and the depth of the data that you have. And one of the unique things that we have is obviously all of these unique data observations, and the AI that sits on top of it really is only as powerful as the data that you're able to put into it. So some of the more generic consumer facing tools out there aren't that useful in a very specific or deep application in a retail category or in an industry. And so we're trying to combine and bring both, trying to bring all the unique data and observations that we have using the best AI and large language technology and capability out there to bring solutions that are meaningful, relevant, and can actually be used by retailers or by car buyers, ideally a bit like the Netflix or Spotify example, without them even knowing that they're using it. That's the power.
Yeah, you have to be a little bit careful when using ChatGPT, as we've seen some examples, haven't we, in other countries, America, where consumers have sort of conned it a little bit when it's been on car dealer websites. So I'm certainly wary of that. When I came up to Manchester last month, you and your team sort of explained how you've been using AI in the business for so long. And I was especially interested in how you use it for retail check, and I suspect you're using it for the trended valuations. Could we just talk a little bit about how AI plays into those products, and how dealers are probably using it now without even knowing?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the first problems that we worked to solve using machine learning type logic was creating a retail valuation for vehicles. This was about 10 years ago now. And we've always had the view that vehicles should be valued and priced on the basis of what consumers are prepared to pay for them. Trade value might be there in the background as a guide or reference point, but you shouldn't price to it. The retail valuation should be the market currency. So for years, we've worked to optimize the data inputs that go into that valuations engine to get more and more observations from more and more third parties and from more and more partners on our platform, and then trained and taught our machine learning models to then derive the most accurate, the most comprehensive, the most real-time value for any given vehicle. And the reason why machine learning is so important here is because those models learn from and make decisions based on that observed data, but they're making observations and predictions for often combinations of assets that we haven't seen. So we can imply a retail valuation for almost any vehicle, even if we haven't seen that exact combination of mileage, of spec, of trim, of condition. We can get to a very, very accurate valuation for that car. And every car is unique. Every used car is unique. So chances are you won't ever, or we won't, and the industry won't ever have seen that exact combination of characteristics or attributes for any given vehicle. So you need machine learning capability. You need big models that can learn and be trained from all the observations you do see to then come up with those derived valuations. And our retail check product, and more recently our trended valuations product, kind of takes that logic one step further. With trended valuations, we're then using big data techniques to imply and take those current observations and project them into the future, again, based on market supply, demand, lots of observable data points that we see today. We're then using those models to project into the future what the value might be. And for retail check, we're looking at the valuations data set, but then also looking at consumer demand observations on our platform and what's happening with supply on our platform to come up with a derived measure of how attractive any given vehicle might be.
I've only had a little play with trended valuations so far, but I found it fascinating as just how it's working out those predictions, and I'll certainly be interested to see how that pans out over the next few weeks and months. I've been using ChatGPT, as you know, to make decisions in my new dealership, and I mean there have been some challenges, there have been some things it's advised to do that haven't actually worked well. There's certainly limitations, aren't there, to AI? With that in mind, would you encourage dealers now to spend time invest in working out how AI could work for their business, or is it something they should just sort of not bother with?
I mean, it comes back to AI is this incredibly broad umbrella term for lots and lots of different things. I would absolutely encourage retailers to use the products that tools that we have available, to use the other to use some of the other tools out there. But really, I wouldn't focus on, the question isn't really, are you using AI in your businesses? Are you using the tools that are going to help you to drive performance? And if they happen to be powered by AI, then brilliant. But I wouldn't go out looking for, I wouldn't go out with a goal to find an AI based tool to help my business. I'd go out with the goal to say, I've got a challenge with sourcing or with pricing or with days to sell on my forecourt. What are the different ways that I might be able to bring tools, products, solutions, third parties to help me solve this business problem? I think from a retail perspective, trying to stay close to consumers, to that consumer buying journey and how that's evolving, like experimenting yourself with some of the consumer facing tools and applications that are out there is always interesting. As you've found and discovered, you quite quickly get into some of the challenges with these very generalist and generic based large language models. They're very good at quite simple or news based questions or fact based observations. But as soon as you're layering in complexities of data or um, verticals that are more complex or involve a more deeper understanding of the data points or the category, then some of the responses you can get can be at best superficial and at times quite misleading. Some of the latest versions of ChatGPT and those other tools, you'll know, are only up to date up to a certain date in time. And I think what we've seen firsthand in our business is the power really of these tools is when people and data work together, combining and complementing each other to create better outcomes that neither, a standalone AI tool or that human could have achieved by themselves. And that's when the magic happens. We talk at Auto Trader about decisions being data driven, but you need those decisions and that data to be supported by human experiences, and that's really the future that we're all striving for. And I think that absolutely applies to retailers and how they think about their businesses and how they want to run their forecourts. Use data, use the best tools out there to drive decision making, but fundamentally retailing is about creating human experiences as well, and no AI tool is ever going to do that for you.
No, definitely concur with that. I mean, I have found it a little bit frustrating, I must say, wanting to do things via AI with my business and AI not actually being able to do it, but equally find that quite exciting because there is obviously an opportunity there. What do you think, in your opinion, is next for AI? I mean, where is this technology going to go, and how can you see it helping dealers in that way?
Well, there's clearly a huge debate kind of raging at the moment between those who see AI as full of hope, full of progress, full of opportunity, and those who see, horror, frankly, and are worried about the risks, whether it's privacy risks around data, whether it's security risks, and, some big ethical challenges and questions being raised by some of the models and data sets out there. I think in all things AI, our absolute commitment and some of the principles we have around how we'll use those tools is always to think about like the most responsible use cases for AI, and to be really transparent and open about how and where and why it's being used, and will only work in ways and in situations where the data is controlled and protected. So it's back to that. We want to use the depth and the richness of the data that we have, but do that in a controlled environment through our products and through our services. We're absolutely committed to continuing to invest in AI, and I'm probably lean more towards the hope a spectrum in that I think it is full of opportunity for our industry if and when it's used in the right way. There's lots of ways we're thinking about using and taking and building on the capabilities that we have to help retailers drive performance, drive efficiencies in their business, and to make that buying journey even easier for consumers. When it comes to retailers, we're in the very early stages of exploring some ways AI can help free up time for retailers to spend on more value activities, whether that's helping to automate some of the stock creation and advertising creation journey. Chances are vehicles that are being advertised, we may well have seen that exact vehicle advertised on Auto Trader in the past, or certainly one very similar to it. So we know what attention grabbers, we know what descriptions of the vehicles, we know what really works and what type of images and how many images will really work to help drive the best possible performance of that vehicle. So early stages, but those kind of advert co-creation tools I think are really exciting. And then we're also building on the work we've done with valuations, with retail check, with trended valuations. We're beginning to dive into thinking around, well, what's the next evolution of that valuation and pricing journey? Is there potentially more automation or more logic that we could build in to make some of that pricing analytics that we provide even more intuitive for retailers? Now, these are not quick and easy products to develop or build. We've been working on many of the things that are coming to market now for many, many years, but we think there's an awful lot we can do to help deliver some of the promise I think that AI should have for this industry.
Amazing, Catherine. I very much look forward to seeing you roll out some of those products. And thank you for giving me your ideas and some hints and tips for my business. It's been a pleasure to chat to you again.
Thanks, James.
Lovely to see you. That's Catherine Faiers from Auto Trader. Now, if you like AI, you can find my AI car dealership project videos on a dedicated playlist on our YouTube channel. And to hear more from Auto Trader, make sure you have tickets to our forthcoming Car Dealer Live event. There are headline partners at our event on March the 7th, and Catherine will be sharing her thoughts on the forces of change in the industry in 2024 and more. Tickets with a special rate for car dealers are available from cardealerlive.co.uk. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.